The mirror was older than the house itself. That was the first thing Emily's grandmother told her when she was little. "It's been in our family for generations," she would whisper, as though speaking too loudly might wake something sleeping inside it. Emily never understood why her grandmother always covered the mirror with a heavy black cloth when night came. As a child, she thought it was superstition. As an adult, when she inherited the house, she discovered the truth: the mirror did not just reflect, it lied. At first, the lies were small, subtle enough to dismiss as tricks of the mind. Emily would glance at her reflection as she walked down the hall, only to notice her hair parted on the wrong side, or her clothes slightly out of place. Once, she thought her eyes looked darker in the glass, shadows circling them like bruises. She blamed poor lighting, fatigue, anything rational. But deep down, something gnawed at her. A mirror shows the truth. Why then did this one twist it? One evening, she stood before it longer than usual. Her reflection tilted its head before she did. She blinked hard, telling herself she imagined it. But then, her reflection smiled. Her own lips were still. The grin on the glass stretched too wide, too deliberate, curling into something cruel. Emily stumbled backward, her pulse hammering in her ears. Yet when she looked again, the reflection was normal, copying her every move as if nothing had happened. She told herself she was tired, that old houses play tricks on the mind. But from that night on, she could never pass the mirror without glancing nervously, afraid of what she might see. The lies grew bolder. One night, she was brushing her hair and caught sight of her reflection. The woman in the mirror was brushing too, but slower, dragging the comb through her hair as if savoring the moment. When Emily stopped, the reflection kept going, its eyes lifting to meet hers in the glass. That was when she noticed the eyes weren't hers anymore. They were hollow, black pits that seemed to pull her forward, drawing her closer to the cold glass. She dropped the brush and ran, slamming the bedroom door behind her. When she returned in the morning, the mirror showed nothing unusual, just her pale, frightened face staring back. Curiosity became dread, and dread became obsession. She tried to cover the mirror like her grandmother once did, but the cloth never stayed. Every morning she woke to find it crumpled on the floor, the mirror exposed, waiting. She asked neighbors if they knew anything about it, but their answers were evasive. Some crossed themselves, others quickly changed the subject. One old man muttered under his breath, "It doesn't show you. It shows what wants to be you." Emily pressed him for more, but he refused to say another word. The mirror began whispering its lies more clearly, not with words, but with images. Emily would see herself walking down the hall when she was standing still. She would see her reflection standing behind her when no one was there. Once, she saw herself sleeping peacefully in bed, even though she was wide awake, staring in horror at the glass. The reflection shifted, turning slowly toward her, its face twisting into something that looked like Emily but wasn't. The skin was gray and sagging, the smile too sharp, the eyes too hollow. When she screamed and smashed the glass with a lamp, the shards scattered across the floor, but each one still showed the same reflection, dozens of little Emilys grinning up at her, none of them matching her real expression. From that night forward, the house felt alive, breathing with her fear. She heard footsteps echoing in the halls when she was alone. She would catch a glimpse of herself turning a corner ahead of her, even though she hadn't moved. The mirrors in the bathroom, the polished surfaces of the windows, even the dark reflection of the television when it was turned off, every surface showed her face doing things she hadn't done. Sometimes the reflections lingered, staring long after she had walked away. Sleep became impossible. Whenever she closed her eyes, she dreamed of the mirror pulling her inside. In her dreams, she was trapped behind the glass, pounding to get out while her reflection walked free, wearing her skin, speaking in her voice, living her life. She would wake to find herself standing in front of the mirror again, though she had no memory of leaving her bed. Once, she woke with her hand pressed flat against the glass, her reflection smile so wide it split her skin at the corners of its mouth. The final lie came on a stormy night. Emily stood before the mirror, her face gaunt, her eyes bloodshot from lack of sleep. Her reflection, however, looked perfect, rested, radiant, even happy. It tilted its head at her, smiling that same too wide grin. For the first time, it spoke. The words didn't come from her lips, but from inside her skull, cold and sharp. "You don't belong here anymore." "I do." Her knees buckled, and she staggered back. The reflection didn't mimic her. It stepped forward, pressing its hands against the glass from the inside. Cracks spiderwebbed across the surface as if the thing inside were pushing against a thin wall. Emily turned to run, but the hallway stretched impossibly long, the doors vanishing into shadow. Behind her, she heard the sound of glass shattering, followed by footsteps that weren't hers. They found the house empty days later. The neighbors said they hadn't seen Emily leave, though some swore they saw her moving through the windows at night. The mirror was still on the wall, whole and unbroken, its surface clean and dark. When the police walked by, some claimed they saw a woman's face inside it, not their own reflection, but Emily's, pounding silently from the other side. The mirror lies because it doesn't just show who you are. It shows who wants to take your place. And once you've stared too long, once you've believed a lie, the mirror decides the truth doesn't belong to you anymore. So if you ever inherit an old mirror, and if its glass seems darker than it should be, don't trust it. Don't linger. Don't look too long, because the reflection you see might be waiting for the chance to step out and leave you trapped inside, another prisoner screaming silently behind the glass, watching as someone else wears your face.